When the why is clear, why I am doing that, why I want to do a startup, how becomes easy. How you will do it, where all you will find the sources, connects, networks, funding, everything will fall into place.
Welcome to the Bharat Startup Talks by Biopatrika. I am Vidhi, host for today's session, and we have Vivek Mishra here, CEO of Fibroheal, a leading biotech healthcare startup company working on silk proteins as biomaterials for wound healing. A very interesting topic and a very interesting startup. Uh, Welcome, Mr. Vivek. Thank you for joining
Yeah,
us
yeah.
from
Thank
your
you, Vidhi. Thanks, Biopatrika.
and just to tell you already that he's on a field trip and he's joining from there, so you get a glimpse of how CEOs work. So just to come straight to the point, my first question is that please tell us something about your background, your education, your childhood, something.
Sure. So I was born in a state called UP. I grew up in northeastern part of India, which brought, or which transformed me to face major challenges, because there were landslides, there was issues related to rate hikes, because when heavy rains will come, roadblocks and other things will be there. I studied in a government school, moved on to do my pharmacy, and post which I was interested in research. But again, there was a confusion which is there in most of the students when they face whether what to go for a master's, go for management, go for, you know, so that's how I ended up doing management, and I started my career in edutech space. As we moved forward, I worked in a couple of companies, and my last assignment was with Tata Chemicals, where I was leading the rice seed business. And in the year 2013, we decided that we want to do something meaningful, worthwhile. And that's how I met my co-founder, Mr. Bharat Tandon, and we started the research. He has built a company in an animal health space, and later on, which was acquired by Cargill. And as we saw the potential in the area of silk and its non-textile biometrical application, we registered a company in the year 2017, 6th April 2017 to be precise. We just completed 6 years. And looking back, it's a fun-filled journey. We have been able to bring silk proteins mainstream, heal different types of acute, chronic, traumatic, post-operative wounds, and made impact. In terms of the way wounds are treated in India. As of now, we are present only in India. Have our products are used more than 500 hospitals, more than 75,000 patients have been treated in all these years. So those numbers, looks fabulous. And today's silk is not a new concept where people say that, oh, what is it? Or how it works and all that. People know that, yes, silk protein works, and we have demonstrated it. So the satisfaction what we carry is immense. So that's a little bit background, Vidhi.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So what was your original career goal? I mean, silk protein seemed a bit very unique. So I think it was a journey which led you to that idea. But what was the original career goal you had in mind?
So the original career goal was to finish my grad, finish my postgrad, land into a good job, make some good money, live a happy living, or earn decent money and live happily. That was the original thought process. When I started my career, there was nothing like, that I wanted to do this or tod dunga, ford dunga, well, nothing like that. It was all a simple thing, and one thing led to other. As you dig deeper, as you get into things, naturally, you will find your mojo, and it will lead to what you want to do in life. And that's how it has transformed for me also.
Okay. So at what point in this, when you were planning to do just a job and you just like settle down in a way, what point did you realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur in healthcare?
Not really. I mean, my journey was not like that, that I thought that I will become entrepreneur and other thing. I always wanted to create an impact. That was always there deep down, that I want to create an impact for good. And I always get fascinated by innovative and unique ideas. And that's where I had read that, a lot of papers from academia has been published citing various biomaterials. And silk was one among them. And when I searched, I couldn't find a single product. So that way, when you look at it, many a times, not knowing too much about a thing is a bliss, and it helps you to take steps forward. So I did not looked back. And today people question me that how you are able to scale a Fibroheal, how you are able to get the desired silk proteins, because it's a very difficult molecule to deal with. It's a self-assembling protein, all those things, which we were not knowing at that point of time. And probably that's why we were able to do it. So sometimes less information is also good because you are able to move forward. So I never thought that I will become an entrepreneur, but you can say I became an accidental entrepreneur.
Yeah,
And once we saw that, the potential is there, we registered the company and in 2017 and started the journey.
so you looked at a research gap in a way, I mean, where it was
Yes,
lacking, and
yes,
then
yes.
yeah.
There was a gap, and there were a lot of research in the area of. You will see thousands of paper published in this from across the world,
Okay,
and
okay.
and and that's how And we ended up translating it into real thing.
hmm
Of
Yeah,
course, we have a full-fledged R&D. We have got half a dozen patents in the
mhm.
name of Fibroheal. But today, looking back, it looks all planned. But that point of time, nothing was planned. One thing led to other.
Okay. That's excellent. This just the research you take and you create it and change it to something concrete is
Correct, correct.
marvelous. So, um, what were the most important things that you've learned over the course of this transitioning from management, from graduation to now, let's say you're in the field?
Yeah. So see, one thing which has remained at core is ultimately it's the people, which I always say. You talk about product, price, place, promotion, process, but one thing, physical evidence. But trust me, if you are, if you align with good people, and if you can make good people buy into your vision that we are here to create some major impact, trust me, everything else can be sorted. Everything else can be sorted. So people is one of the important aspect. Secondly, focusing on why I want to do it. When the why is clear, how becomes easy.
Hmm.
So our this thing was very clear that we want to create an impact. We want to bring silk protein mainstream, and we thought that it has economic multiplier potential. And in the process, we leveraged it. And today, we see that we call ourselves successful. But when we started, there was no surety that we will be successful. Correct. So that is one of the. And third, it's important to stay focused. Of course, when we started the company, our focus was more on burns. Today, we are a comprehensive wound care company addressing various types and stages of wounds.
Mhm.
But I mean, when you start, you are not sure about it. So be clear, but be clear that where do you want to go, and in between, as the situation and demands arise, keep changing the path. Don't change the goalpost, but keep changing the path. So these are two, three things, which we felt, and be open to collaborations. We have collaborated with almost more than a dozen institutes across. So bridging that industry academia gap is also very important. We have also supported some students under PMRF program, Prime Minister Research Fellowship in India from IISc. So those small things, takes you a long way. So that's how it has been the journey.
This is very interesting. I mean, especially when you mentioned that industry academia should not be separate, right? They should have some.
Correct,
I think that's something which we still have to work on
correct.
in the field of science, so definitely.
True, true.
So, so among in all this, definitely, I assume that you might have had some mentors, some inspirations. So,
Sure.
who were they, and what were the some advice you got from them, which stayed with you and still follows you?
Yeah, so my previous connects where I had previous managers or my mentors or even my current co-founders, they are more like a mentor because they are double my age. So
Okay.
it helps. And Indian culture always says that you should respect the elders and all those kind of things. So it helps. Now, what happens? People who have built companies of scale and exited it, it's always good to have them by your side. You may at least hear them out, hear your problems. Also, one of the important aspect is creating more friends in the process. For example, when I say PMRF, I supported one student. The prof over there, the relationship is, prof, I am feeling like having a coffee. Are you free? That is the kind of thing you discuss. And trust me, best ideas are discussed over there. When you freely interact, we don't bother much about how much NDA is signed, how much information is shared, and that kind of trustful relationships what you make, it helps you it helps you big time. Also, not to forget that some of the mentors, meaningful mentors, brings a lot of connects and networks to you.
Mhm.
For example, how we introduced to Biopatrika, and today, we support Biopatrika a lot, or how we are interacting today. All these relationships, what we form over interactions, that may lead to something fruitful 5 years down the line. So it's one of the important aspect is to service and maintain those relationships. Have honest and open conversations, and that's what probably has helped Fibroheal. That tomorrow if there was some issue in my product, I would acknowledge it, accept it, and go back after 2 months saying that hey, I have improved this. I hope this will work. Can you kindly give your feedback? Not saying that yeah, I'm great. I have developed something extraordinary. I can't be wrong. So I mean, one thing I have learned is if you're truthful, honest, and if you interact freely with people, a lot of problems can be addressed, and that has helped us.
I agree. I definitely agree. I am a researcher too, so this trust and the interaction thing is definitely helps. Always helps.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So what was the greatest professional challenge you faced along the way, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I often say this, and I will say it again. Initially, when we started Fibroheal, I was worried about funding, regulatory approvals, whether the product will work, whether I will be able to fight it out big guys or not. But trust me, the biggest challenge which I faced was how I can align whole team to a common goal. Managing individual egos, managing individual personalities, individual goals, and marrying it to the bigger goal of the company was the biggest challenge, which even I face today. And we have different methods to iron it out. We don't do this CCBCC thing, in organization. If you had an issue, come sit across and sort it out then and there itself.
Mhm.
You can't say that production is doing this and manufacturing is doing this and sales is doing this or R&D is doing this. Address it out. You all are four wheels of a company, and please understand the movement of the vehicle or the bus is more important than each wheels rotating at a high speed. So you have to ensure that you rotate at the right RPM. So that is one of the things which to some extent, I have been able to address it. Still, a lot to be done in that area. That was one of the single biggest challenge what I faced. That aligning people to a common goal, having everyone's interest protected, and buying their buy-in for the bigger cause. Other
Okay.
rest, regulatory, funding, all the challenge I found much easier compared to this.
Okay. Uh, so it's not in my questions, but I'm interested now that okay, this would be more of a goal. I mean, challenge as a leader that you want to unite everybody towards a goal.
Correct.
So like you mentioned that trusting, making people trust that this will work. So
Correct.
in this aspect, what was the challenge you faced to make, let's say, investors trust in the same goal too? Or
Yes.
let's sue someone who's availing your services, and how can you assure them that it works? How do you
Trust me, the biggest visiting card is your face. The biggest clinical trial is your product, how it performs in a real case. You can say that I have done on a patient size, sample size of 1500 patient. But the surgeon will ask me, hey, I have a patient on bed number 12. His wound is not healing from last 6 months. Can you do something about it? If you are able to address him, then I will look into your product. Simple. He's not
okay.
interested in your trials, your publications, whether your publication came in Alzheimer or Nature. He's not interested in any of that. Patient number on bed number 12, can you address it out? Now, that point of time, if a patient is giving you a chance, he said that yes, your product is approved by FDA, all that necessary things are over. Show me the difference. Many people, they lose the battle there, because what happens if you go and if you do a proper case study and come back and show them 2 weeks back, hey, this is the case today, people will come to know, they will trust you. Ultimately, it's all game of trust. Any building anything, any startup, or having any relationship, whether it is investor or whatever, it's all about trust. So in that case, even if you say investor that say, I'm not going to create a unicorn, I'm not going to create a $1 billion company, I'm going to create this. In the first year I will do this much, second year I will do this much, third year I will be at this stage with so many products, so many across the 360-degree view of the organization. Investors understand at the end of the day, they are human beings and they have also built businesses. The objective is to make you win. If you win, then only investor wins.
Mhm.
But that honest conversations are very important. Otherwise, what you say that I will create that your potential is only say thousand, build a 1,000 crore company, and you may talk about a unicorn, and then that's where those miscommunications start, and it leads to those dirty fights which sometimes you read with some of the startups. But if you are transparent from day one, transparency plays a major role in success of any organization.
Okay. Okay. I think you simplified it a lot because it seems a bit daunting when people talk about investors and funding.
Correct.
So I think this would be very valuable.
True.
So I have three more questions.
Sure.
So looking back, are there any career moves that you have made that for which you would like a second chance?
Not really, because when I started, I was part of edutech space. Then I moved into food and nutrition. I was in agri space. Probably, if all these would not have happened, Fibroheal would not have happened. Because I got experience in edutech space, got experience in food and nutrition, got experience in agri, and I realized that I was leading the rice seed business, and whole game happens in 3 months between May 15 to say July 15. If
Yeah.
you don't finish your task, you are screwed up because next 9 months you can't do anything. And rice was biggest contributor, almost more than 43% of the company's revenue used to come from rice. And I used to travel almost 25 days a month at that
Wow.
point of time to various rural areas of India. You name Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Haryana, Punjab,
Mm-hmm.
Karnataka, Telangana. And that's what helped me because the more number of people you interact with, the biggest learning happens with people when you interact. And you come to know, and suddenly you realize in Chhattisgarh that a good silk cocoon, till the time I was not knowing that, silk cocoon, worm stage inside a cocoon. I have never seen a cocoon. And there I saw in a place called Dhamtari in Chhattisgarh that, how tussar silk grows, on a tree and how it is hunted.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought that, I will end up doing something in silk protein. And, finally, I had met one of the cardiothoracic surgeons and he introduced me to my, co-founder because they both were alumni of Mayo School. So see, that's how meaningful interactions happens. And today, we have built Fibroil to the stage. Now
Mm-hmm.
imagine that when he invited me to his hospital and then, he introduced to this guy, if that meeting would not have happened, probably Fibroil would not have happened the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, to look at all these things and, be so I don't, coming back to your question, I don't see that, any career move I could have, done any better or something. Whatever happened, I enjoyed it. And what I am today is because of all those moves which happened earlier in my
Yes.
career.
Yes. I think you did a very good job in connecting the dots from every single thing you
Sure.
pursued, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is great, really. Next question is that do you, oh, I think you have answered, but still, how much networking helps in finding the right career opportunity?
So right networking helps significantly, and bad networking leads to a lot of wastage of time. So it's a bitter pill to be taken in right dose. You need to be clear that whom I am meeting and why I am meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's where I feel networking helps. But being clear that what, for example, I met a gentleman in the office of PwC, Price Water and Coopers, in the year 2014, and he became my probably second angel investor in my company through his family fund.
Okay.
From 2014 and 2018, he invested in my company,
Okay.
and he acts like a mentor to me. Now imagine if 4 years I never thought. I met him and he was a big shot guy, a managing director of Healthy MedTech, now a medtech company called Healthy MedTech, and he became he agreed to come in the company as a co-promoter. So that
Okay.
helps. So 4 years down the line it came. So
Mm-hmm.
you just need to stay in touch. And I told him, and when we met across, I clearly told him that I need your expertise to build
Mm-hmm.
Fibroheal.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped because he has built something in medtech space and we were trying to do something.
Okay.
So networking helps, but with the right guys, it helps significantly. Many times you realize that, you talk to too many people and you end up wasting most of your time rather. Still today, given one suggestion, I will give that action always wins every mentorship. If you are action oriented, you will always be successful. Mentors will find you. You don't need to find mentors. Mentors will find you if you are
Wow.
action oriented.
Oh,
So
that's
that's what
golden.
has been my experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's really a golden piece of advice. I never thought of it in this way. And the final question, I would say, is that what advice would you like to give others looking to start a business, especially in healthcare and medical space, and just being entrepreneurs in science?
Yeah. So find a real problem which you feel is a real problem. You don't need to do fancy stuff to get into a problem. For example, 50 years back, malaria was a big problem. TB was a big problem. Find any problem which is there. COVID, you saw it was a big opportunity for people. Imagine if someone would have researched in that area, they would have become millionaires and billionaires during COVID. Opportunities will come from any time. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be clear that what problem you are solving. Always get into a problem solving. Always take a problem solving approach. Point number one. Point number two, stay focused. And as I mentioned earlier, when the why is clear, why I am doing that, why I want to do a startup, how becomes easy. How you will do it, what, where all you will find the source edge, connects, networks, funding, everything will fall into place. When the why is clear, how and all other things becomes easy. Thirdly, always look at meaningful interactions. It can be from your competitor, from your friend, from your acquaintances. And don't think that, any guy who has made it big, it has, everything in place. Just keep slogging, be action oriented. And if you are focused, action oriented, have patience, and you form meaningful connections and transparent in your approach, trust me, building a startup or entrepreneurship is fun. And I'm sure many of you who will watch it or who may get inspired with it will end up, solving a genuine problem, and that will give a lot of happiness to everyone that, yes, some few people have tried and create an impact for this. So that's with this one I said.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Vivek, for sharing your views, insights, experiences. I'm sure the viewers will end up getting a lot of golden rules or pieces of advice, and it would be as if you are mentoring them directly face to face. So that's usually our
Thank
goal. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
thank thank you, Vidhi. Thank you, Biopatrika, for having me on your platform.